There's a guy on Twitter.
Good. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. I can't believe you're not fired from yesterday.
What's it? Oh, who's there? What's up, man? All right. So, what, in the 9th Precinct area?
Yeah.
Who's back? The cops or the feds?
Cops, some guy online claimed he saw him before cops.
Yeah, when I wrap up over here, where was you?
First in St. Mark's.
First in St. Mark's?
That's closing when they got him there.
Okay, all right, okay. When I'm done over here,
Now, stay there. I mean, usually, there's no rule on it, and then just look at Sean Federal.
And those are my
yeah, I got back.
and it might be.
No, I'm waiting.
Who you there for? Who you
Believe it
there
or not, I went to my agency, then also my work on work for us. Which was shocking, you know? You know, that's what Joe Amari hired.
Where's Joe?
Well, he's on the assignment.
Joe still there?
He only works 4 days a week.
Oh.
Can we just make sure, people like I'd like to make sure it's PAs, so we can figure out like, you know, where it's on this.
I was gonna say, what's up, Hanson, but I'll say.
Okay, we're trying to sort something out.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
He can hear us. Robbie.
Just ask me the question outside.
Can you guys see me?
Hey, Robbie, can you flash a thumbs up if you can hear us?
Yeah, Robbie,
Yeah, it's hot, Mike. So, Chris, can Robbie hear me or no? Yes, just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so we can just make sure. Oh, we gotta make sure that you hear. Guys, you got, no, probably not, because it's not set up, because the audio.
What?
She just speak about it? Oh, sometimes it does. It was so mad. Why did she just tweet that? That?
What's the ETA?
Oh, on a press conference. I see what you mean.
Okay.
Oh, Robbie, like sound check.
Robbie, you get a quick sound check.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect, thank you. So, Rob, one more time, I'll wait until my daughter gets up here, I think.
They're going for me, so I'm streaming online. They're not going to, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do those things like that.
This is.
All good? Audio good?
How long is it?
So, if it works, Robbie can hear you.
Okay. All right, well then I'm gonna just cart the stuff out because it's completely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's totally fine. No worries. Yes, when they speak in the meeting.
Turn the page.
Something will go wrong. Will.
I'm gonna go. There's no sense of me being in here. See you later.
I mean, to a degree, it's not a setup. We just don't have time. Mike thought is here, and I would say it's at least 30 minutes. Yes. We have a situation where whoever's at the last one, here, no one was anything good, so all of a sudden, huge, went aside from the state, and then, the giant monitors speaking. And everyone in the room hears, and it'll lead out to the press. But I mean, we didn't have questions yesterday, so, I mean, we can have someone, right? I mean, we're gonna do this version. I'm sorry, Mike.
No worries.
I guess I know my mom probably can't do this now.
So what's the next one? But I mean, essentially, and that's it.
Days in a row. One of my earliest. A long time. Yeah, that was. Late at night. Doing all right?
Bluetooth. Ready to connect via Bluetooth.
Right, so mayors of the that's not like this. And then Rob.
We gotta let the. There's no reason we do something else.
Well, breaking the bill on your always late. Well, make it sure. New York is
Hey, I see the time of race for to start all your Great. Perfect, sounds good. So I'll just let whoever's opening. Right. And then as soon as he's on it, so I would give the 2 count after you unmute and then just all of them for the cameras.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. Why?
No, I ran out of
I'm thinking of come from coal miners, hope you'll miners affect you, black and construction angle weight to the far and separate. Pump hill. These laborers are known as punkers. Okay.
Yeah, I was there already.
Oh, really?
I know what lost. The old thing that's all. You know what it is, yes.
I know.
I'm guessing.
I know guys, one way
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Right down to the bottom. The bottom of it.
Thank you. Mic check 1, 2. This is a microphone check for the media room, and if for any other media who wants to check their mics. What's up, Bill? Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. We just got a 2-minute warning, fellas.
These signs for phones on vibrate. Thank you.
Well, let's just check this out one last time.
All right, how about now? That would help, right? 1, 2, 3. On the left. Left side, right side. We good? Awesome.
Yeah.
So red's on.
Red's on.
Off is off, right? Okay. You good? Okay. We're about 30 seconds out.
Excellent.
Yeah, just open up.
You're open, right? You're in.
Please, like, social media, it's very proud, yeah. Yeah. His family moved the police over by Manhattan Beach. And then they grabbed the police on the building, and then now he opened the kid's son. He opened the house. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. Yeah, exactly, it's also, young kids are not promoted.
Good afternoon. I'm John Miller, Deputy Commissioner for Intelligence and Counterterrorism of the New York City Police Department. With me, Police Commissioner Keechant Sewell, Chief of Detectives James Essig, Breon Peace, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Mike Driscoll, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York office, John DeVito, Special Agent in charge, ATF. These are the partners who have been working with us from the first moment of this incident, and we have important information to transmit today. First, we'd like to go to the mayor, live from Gracie Mansion.
My fellow New Yorkers, we got him. We got him. I cannot thank the men and women of the New York City Police Department enough, as well as our federal agents, our state police, our first responders, from the 9/11 operators to the various men and women from our medical professions. We got him and said to New Yorkers, we're going to protect the people of this city and apprehend those who believe they can bring terror to everyday New Yorkers. And I want to thank everyday New Yorkers who called in tips, who responded, who helped those passengers who were injured. 33 shots, but less than 30 hours later, we're able to say, we got him. Thank you, Commissioner, for your leadership. Job well done.
And now, Police Commissioner of the City of New York, Keechant Sewell.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. I am truly fortunate to stand here among these extraordinary investigators and federal partners to make this announcement. Moments ago, Frank Robert James was stopped on the street and arrested by members of the New York City Police Department. Officers, in response to a Crime Stoppers tip, stopped Mr. James at 1:42 p.m. at the corner of St. Mark's Place and First Avenue in Manhattan. He was taken into custody without incident and has been transported to an NYPD facility. He will be charged with committing yesterday's appalling crime in Brooklyn. I want to commend all of the investigators and analysts who took part in this all-hands-on-deck investigation. Literally, hundreds of NYPD detectives worked doggedly during the last 30 hours to bring this together. They did so in tandem with a vast number of our law enforcement partners, including those from the FBI NYPD Joint Terrorism Task Force, the ATF NYPD Crime Gun Intelligence Center, and the Regional Task Force led by the United States Marshal Service. We hope this arrest brings some solace to the victims and the people of the city of New York. We used every resource at our disposal to gather and process significant evidence that directly links Mr. James to the shooting. We were able to shrink his world quickly. There was nowhere left for him to run. I'd like to turn it over to Chief James Essick for details of the investigation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to update the public on yesterday's incident on the subway in Brooklyn on the Manhattan-bound N train. Through the course of this investigation, we developed additional information and evidence. Mr. Frank James, our person of interest, now became a wanted individual for yesterday's horrific incident. Mr. James is a male, 62 years old. He is known to us and has ties in Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York City. His arrest history in New York is 9 prior arrests dating from 1992 to 1998. Those include possession of burglary tools 4 times, criminal sex act, theft of service 2 times. He was arrested on a New Jersey warrant. He also has a criminal tampering. He has 3 arrests in New Jersey, in 1991, 1992, and 2007. They are for trespass, larceny, and disorderly conduct. So yesterday, we recovered video of him prior to the incident entering the Kings Highway subway station. He has the same black cart that he has later recovered on the crime scene. The pictures are to my right over here. This
We'll make
state,
these available electronically after this.
this station is 3 blocks from where we recovered the U-Haul truck that he rented in Philadelphia. The key to that truck was recovered at the crime scene. This jacket, the distinctive orange jacket, was also recovered, as well as his construction helmet he was wearing, and we recovered that in a garbage bin in transit. We believe, but this is still early in the investigation, that after firing his weapon 33 times at innocent New York City subway riders, Mr. James boarded an R train that had pulled into the station, went one stop up, and exited at 25th Street Station. We also have a picture of that. The gun used in this, a 9mm Glock, which was recovered at this crime scene, was purchased by Mr. James in 2011 in Ohio. We tracked Mr. James, and his last known whereabouts was 7th Avenue and 9th Street in Park Slope, entering the subway. Minutes ago, thankfully, NYPD patrol officers from the 9th Precinct responded to St. Mark's and 1st Avenue, where they apprehended him without incident. This case was quickly solved using technology, video canvassing, and then getting that information out to the public. So I can't speak highly enough of the partners we had, the FBI, Mike Driscoll, ATF, John DeVito, U.S. District Attorney from Easton, Breon Peace, and the coordination and within the Detective Bureau, Tommy Galati from Intel, our Transit Bureau, our Patrol Services Bureau. Phenomenal job, less than 30 hours later to arrest this individual. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Breon Peace.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Yesterday was a dark day for all of us, but the bright spots of the incredible heroism of our fellow New Yorkers helping each other in a time of crisis, the quick response by our first responders, and the hard work by all of our law enforcement partners that has been ongoing is truly a bright spot here. Today, Frank James has been charged by complaint in Brooklyn Federal Court with 1 count of violating 18 U.S.C. sections 1992 A7 and B1, which prohibits terrorist and other violent attacks against mass transportation systems. He has been apprehended. He will be arraigned in federal court in Brooklyn, and if convicted, he will face a sentence of up to life imprisonment. My office is prepared to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that on April 12th, 2022, in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, in the Eastern District of New York, Frank James did knowingly and without lawful authority and permission commit an act, including the use of a dangerous weapon, with the intent to cause death and serious bodily injury to passengers and MTA employees on the New York City subway system. The government will prove, among other things, that James traveled across state lines in order to commit the offense and transported materials across a state line in aid of the commission of the offense. We, in the Eastern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office, are working closely with all of our law enforcement partners, the FBI, NYPD, ATF, U.S. Marshal Service, and others, including the Kings County District Attorney's Office. And my office and our law enforcement partners will use every tool at our disposal to bring this individual justice and bring justice to New Yorkers and restore safety and peace of mind to all. And we'll continue to do so as this case proceeds. Thank you.
Mike?
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. As Mr. Peace just discussed, Mr. James is now facing a federal charge for his actions, a terrorist attack on mass transit. We have 2 ways that you can get in contact with us, because I want to be very clear that this is still an ongoing investigation. If you have additional information regarding Mr. James's activity, or if you have digital information, please reach out to us. Contact the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can provide digital media through fbi.gov/Brooklyn shooting. We need to hear from you so we can fully understand all the events that have occurred over the last 30 hours. It's crucial that we receive the assistance of the public as we piece this case together. There has been some reports that FBI holdings to date had a tie to Mr. James. I want to be very clear that to date, we have found no record of an investigation of Frank R. James by an FBI office before the shooting yesterday. Reports that FBI's New Mexico field office previously investigated him are inaccurate. I want to thank our partners in this case, the NYPD, the ATF, the U.S. Marshals, and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and all the members of the FBI NYPD Joint Terrorism Task Force. We've had such a tremendous response from all of our partners in this case that have led us to this moment now. I also want to take a quick moment to highlight the work of the JTTF. I'm fortunate I get to work with them every day. It's truly an outstanding group of people, led by SAC Kerry Farley, who spearheaded this investigation. They've done an outstanding job on this, as they have every time New York has faced a threat of this nature. So thank you, and I'd like to turn it over to John DeVito from the ATF.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is John DeVito. I'm Special Agent in Charge for ATF here in New York State. One of the key points that A. Dick Driscoll pointed out was that we could not have done this without the public's help. First, let me say our thoughts and prayers and actions for the past 2 days have been with the victims as well as all New Yorkers. The men and women of ATF have been working side by side with NYPD, FDNY, Marshals, FBI to solve this heinous crime, which we have. Immediately after the attack, New York City Crime Gun Intelligence Center, or CGIC, which is a unit comprised of highly skilled analysts, investigators from ATF, NYPD, as well as a myriad of other vital partners, whose sole purpose is to collect, analyze, and disseminate actionable intelligence regarding gun violence. Just imagine a team of dedicated professionals exploiting every nugget of intel from gun violence, the firearms, and then weaponizing that information to use it against the people that are terrorizing our communities. That's your CG. The timeline on this gun's life spans 16 years and 5 states. And I'm very proud to say that late yesterday evening, about 12 hours after this attack, ATF agents were able to close the loop on that extensive time span and determine that Frank James purchased said firearm from a federal firearms licensee in Ohio in 2011. So essentially, we tied that gun utilized in the shooting to our target, and now we have our target in custody. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be in that we've told you almost everything we have to say, able to answer some very limited questions. Tina.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Crime Stoppers? There's some reports they called themselves in.
There was a person who called Crime Stoppers. We're reviewing who exactly made that call.
Rocco?
Commissioner, we'll keep that for another one. You alluded in one of his videos to yesterday's date. Does that date have any significance? And is it clear yet what the motivation was for the shooting?
I think first and foremost, we were looking to get this guy off the street before he did any more carnage, brought any more carnage to the city. As to the investigation into the motive and to look and scour his social media, that's still part of the ongoing investigation. But again, first and foremost, we wanted to take him off the street. The investigation is continuing into the motive, into his social media postings.
Bloomberg.
You said Mr. James walked into a Park Slope subway station. What time was that? And what was he doing in between then and when you guys called him?
That was 9:15 yesterday. So the incident occurs at 8:24. So he exited the 25th Street Station House shortly after 8:24. The R train pulls in. We catch him next going into a Park Slope on 7th Avenue and 9th Street at 9:15. And then we grab him today. But we had literally hundreds of detectives out scouring video throughout the crime scene and beyond.
And so this is 9 a.m.?
Excuse me?
9 a.m. that he goes into Park Slope?
Yes, that was him. Yeah, yesterday at 9:15.
All right, Mark.
And do you have any idea where he was previously today? Any ideas on his whereabouts? Was he being tracked in any way? Did he say anything when he was arrested?
No, his arrest was just literally minutes ago. So we haven't even, he's just arrived at the precinct shortly. As to his whereabouts, that's part of the investigation. Detectives are out going through video canvases, and we're going to backtrack that, and that will take literally weeks.
Katie.
A two-part question. The first is, did the NYPD previous to yesterday's attack have any complaints, or did they look into any of the cameras being out, not just at 36th Street, but at 45th and 25th? And additionally, is there any indication that Mr. James was going to do any more attacks in New York City?
But
We'll get back on the cameras. But after the second part.
yeah, as far as them doing any more attacks, that's again, that's part of the investigation. Our main focus was to take him off the street immediately.
And do you know how?
But go ahead.
Do you know how he purchased the gun? If he had a criminal record?
You can't have a felony conviction to purchase the gun. So he had no felony convictions.
Okay, New York one.
Emily, how are you?
Hi.
Has the mayor's security detail been returned to its typical size and scope?
So we're not going to discuss that. Juliet Pop.
Yes, can you take us from the Crime Stopper tip to the arrest? What happened in between? How was he located? And
The Crime Stopper tip today? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Juliet. Good afternoon. Crime Stopper tip comes in, reports that the male is in the McDonald's on 6th Street and First Avenue in the 9th Precinct down on the Lower East Side in East Village. Officers respond to the McDonald's. He's not in the McDonald's. They start driving around the neighborhood looking for him. They see him on the corner of St. Mark's and First, and they take him into custody. No incident and take him into custody.
did you do an audit of cameras at subway stations just to make sure they're all working in the future, so it was easier to catch a person who does something?
Yeah, so the camera systems in the subway system are not NYPD cameras. They're owned and maintained by the MTA. We have access to them. We do regularly look and see which cameras are working, which ones are not, but the responsibility for those cameras belongs to the MTA.
Tony.
Are you going to make the officers who made the apprehension available? Are you going to identify them? Any special?
Not at this time. If we do, we'll let you know.
Rocco.
Chief Bessie, Chief, in interviews that took place throughout the day yesterday with any of the surviving victims as well as people who were on the train, have you been able to glean anything about what he said or did on the train that yields a little bit more about his motivation, about what he intended to do?
We have witnesses on the train who said he was sitting in the back corner of the second car, and he popped the smoke grenade. And we have one witness who says, what did you do? He goes, oops, and then he pops the two, brandishes the firearm, and fires 33 times. That we are in the process, and we are asking for anybody's help who was on that subway train or on that platform to reach out to the Crime Stoppers at 1-800-877-TIPS with any information. We're still looking for witnesses and anybody who has information who was on the scene.
Okay, New York Times.
Hi, can you tell us anything more about the block that this guy used? We heard initially that it was jammed. I know from what experts say that blocks aren't supposed to do that. It's one of the selling points of block. Can you tell us a little bit more about if that's the case or?
Well, our crime scene is still processing that scene. It goes to the lab and they'll give us a report. It's still very early in the investigation for that.
All right, Tony.
One
All right.
Mr.
Okay, go ahead.
Attorney. The statute that he's being held under, that requires no nexus to any foreign terrorism. This is, in its own, it's a discrete charge.
That's correct. The statute is titled Terrorism and Other Violent Attacks in Mass Transportation. So there's a federal interest, of course, in protecting mass transportation hubs and infrastructure. And so that's the jurisdiction. But we're not going to comment further, or we're still investigating the motive and things like that, so can't comment further.
All right, last question to Juliet.
Yes, we can talk about his contact with social services, or if he had any here in New York.
That's going to be part of the investigation as well, so we were not able to speak to that at this moment.
So after his, he got arrested in the 90s, and then did he like disappear? Was he not in New York City anymore?
That's part of our investigation as well, Julie. Thank you.
One more question, with these 12?
You're the last question.
Thank you. I'm wondering if there's, do we have any motive in terms of Sunset Park? Why Sunset Park, or was it random?
No idea. So just to close, we also want to acknowledge our partners, sometimes jousting partners in the media, for putting all these pictures out, for spreading this story from the time we did the press conference yesterday. That was a critical effect on raising the kind of public awareness that, as the commissioner said, was able to give him very few choices in terms of where to go. So we appreciate your efforts as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.